This is why Joe Rowling and Steve Kloves are so clever, is that just because the battle starts, it doesn't mean the rest of the film stops. Because all the other characters and all the other relationships and all the other stories carry on in the battle. That's what's great. That's why you don't just feel it's just a battle sequence, because all those other things that you know from Harry Potter, like the humour and the romance and all that stuff, is all feeding into it. I mean, not Harry's not experiencing too much humour or too much romance, but although he does get a mid-battle kiss, which I instigated, I have to say, the other day. I said we'd probably kiss at this moment, wouldn't we? It might be one of those sort of like, I could be dead any minute now, Ginny. We should probably kiss. So there's one of those moments, but it's like all those stories carry on within the battle. I mean, it's going to be huge, yeah. They all know that the reason they're here and the reason they're on this journey is much bigger than any one of them, or even all three of them, or even all of their friends and their families. It is bigger than all of that. And for 17-year-olds to sort of have that maturity and realise that what's at stake is much more important than any of their individual lives, is quite impressive, and is what makes it a very moving story. The fact that these three kids, no matter what faults they have, are ultimately totally selfless. He starts off the most composed and the most in control we've ever seen him in the first part of the seventh. And then by the end of the second part, he's almost totally lost his mind. So it's a really interesting journey for his character, because he's going from somebody who is kind of very stable and kind of in control and evil and malevolent, but nonetheless steady. And as Harry starts destroying parts of his soul, he starts slowly kind of losing his mind as well. It was just odd to see something that has always been so solid and so huge and so vast look kind of so small suddenly, and full of stretches and rubble, and just look like it has been destroyed. And it's going to be very odd for people, I think, to see that, who've seen all of the films, to suddenly see the Great Hall in ruin. Particularly when I was younger, it was quite intimidating to be in a quite combative scene with such an experienced actor. Was always quite intimidating. So I think that sort of forced me to raise my own standards. So yeah, I've always enjoyed working with Alan. He's great, and he's a fantastic actor. I mean, he's the way he thinks about scenes, the way he breaks them down, the way he thinks about particular moments it's quite inspirational. Particularly, he's one of those actors which is rehearsing with him is fantastic, because when you get an insight into his thought process, it's great. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I wouldn't try and sum it up yet. Um, I think it'd be very premature of me to try and give a synopsis of what the last 10 years have meant while I'm still in them. Um, I think you can only really tell what something's done for you, or done to you, or done with you when you finished something. And so I will one day, I'll be able to look back and say, I know certain things about it. I know I've had a great time. I know I'll miss it. I know I'll miss my friends. I know that I can't quite comprehend of a world in which this isn't part of my life, and so that's going to be very odd, very very strange indeed. There'll never be a frame of any of these films that I don't look at and connect immediately to a memory of this place, or of somebody, not even involved in the films, but somebody who I met through them. Uh, every day, every day is connected.